Welcome back to another episode of Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. This time, we are finally done beating up Zenyamo. He's out of the picture, he's out of the game, but a new problem has arisen. This new guy, Soga, is going to be an issue, but we're not really sure when he's going to be an issue. But the first thing to do here, obviously, is we gotta go through and we gotta do some missions. Now, of course, we can go on patrol, but we're not going to do that yet because, as you can see, we've got plenty of side missions to pick from. And Nana has sent us yet another email, which means we're going to have to go get a quest from her. So to start out, I decided to just take 2 quests, not taking the full 3 this time, so I could go ahead and get Nana's quest in there as well. So, of course, we're going to go in here and we're going to get the details of the quest down. And this one's actually pretty simple. She wants us to be her bodyguard. Now, of course, this is the 6th sister mission. This is indeed the last one. And this one's a bit interesting. It's not difficult at all. There's no combat. There's no real, difficulty involved, but there is a catch. But I'll just keep it vague for now. So all we have to do is we got to go to Yodobashi area, and we just got to walk up to the shopping center, and that should be it. So of course, kind of reminiscent of the other bodyguard mission we did, the bodyguard side mission, all we have to do is go in, the Yodobashi Akiba, and then exit. And then of course we have to kind of move around a little bit. Rin's here too, just by circumstance, because she's supposed to be there for the mission, of course, so it's kind of whatever. But here, of course, I'm going to get Nana into place, and right there means that we're going to trigger the event. So, she wants to go shopping, but suddenly, yes, remember these 2 from the last mission? Yes, these are Nana's friends from school. And of course, I can pick any of these, and I go for the princely option. It's very good. So, the only thing you have to do in this entire mission is you have to kind of steer this conversation in the right direction. So you finally learn that Nana had friends, and these are her friends, and they had a kind of a, not really an argument, but they said something that made Nana feel bad and distant. So she, went into her shell, and she decided not to talk to them or be friends with them anymore, because she felt like they were disgusted by her, and she felt bad about that. So of course, what we had to do was we had to use these dialogue options to kind of steer the conversation in a direction for her friends to make up with her, so Nana and her friends, can become friends again after the misunderstanding. They were just warning her, anime and manga can't be your life, and Nana felt threatened, even though, there was just a lack of real discussion. They didn't really figure out what was wrong between them. But of course, what we had to do is we got to be the mediator, make sure that goes smoothly. Now, that being said, yes, you can screw this up. You can completely blow this. You can blow it badly, and I think you have to fight them. That's why they have weapons. So if you blow this conversation, you actually have to fight them off. But if you do not successfully complete this conversation where Nana and her friends make up, you can't get the Nana bonus ending. It will be. I think the mission doesn't fail technically, but it's considered a failure in Nana's quest thing. So it's like the bad end. It's the Nana bad end. You do all the Nana missions, and this is how it goes. But as you can see, of course, we got the friendship back strong as ever, because it's really not. I mean, all you have to do is pick sensible dialogue options. It's not very hard to figure out which ones are going to be good or not. So Nana's very gracious. She's happy that we were there to help, and she's going to pay us and go hang out with her friends. And that is the end of the Nana quest line. It is a happy ending where she pays us 20,000 yen and she goes out and hangs out with her friends, and everything's okay. So with that, there will be no more Nana missions. That is it for Nana. We don't need to ever look in the email for her again. We have solved all the troubles here. So for this next mission, we got to go to the Show Street exit. And I'm going to go ahead and take my flyer. And we are going to talk to this girl, and she wants us to beat up these people in Akihabara Park. Just a bunch of punks hanging out in their spot. And she wants us to get rid of them. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and get rid of them. And they're in the middle area of Akihabara Park where Joinus Takabayashi was. That kind of middle park area, away from all the buildings. I wasn't 100% on where they were or not at first, so decided to go around the back area. This is usually where all the punks hang out, near the parking garage, as you might remember from earlier when we beat up all those girls who tried to fool with our emotions. It was a very heartbreaking moment. So here's the Showa Street exit. They're right there, past this weird kind of console area. They're down there. I noticed once I saw the giant crowd that it was time to go and face them. So this is not a very easy battle, as I came to find out. I thought it would just be kind of a standard, yeah, maybe it's a few more guys than usual, but this isn't going to be difficult. They all got those kind of big, weird weapons, and like the weird artwork. So I'm like, yeah, this is going to be simple. Well, I was wrong, weirdly enough. And honestly, I'm going to blame this on Rin. I had this in my mind. I was like, alright, so I'm going to get Unison Strip charged up, and I'm going to use that, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be alright. Well, as it turns out, these guys are pretty smart. I guess, you know, this late in the game when the AI is kind of at its maximum capacity, I wasn't really thinking about how hard the guys were going to get here, but their attacks were very relentless. They attacked in crowds, so I was having a hard time actually doing any serious damage. Of course, a lot of them had headgear. I think all of them had headgear, and hitting their headgear was ridiculous. And the movesets on those larger weapons seemed a lot more useful than I remember them being. And of course, here I go on a very large stripping spree. But I think the big moment, and I did take out two guys. You can see Punk Asses kicked, which I think is probably my favorite quantifier here in this entire thing. But the big problem comes very soon. I thought I had this fight pretty much under control, because, you know, yeah, these guys were annoying, but 2 down, only 6 to go. I just had to whittle down their numbers. And I was doing a pretty steady stripping job, and Unison Strip was almost there. But as you may be noticing if you're looking at Rin right now, and of course I was not focusing on her at the time, she was getting stripped. And for the first time, I think, in this entire playthrough, though I might be wrong, but I am pretty sure, the first time in this entire playthrough, I actually had a partner out, which is where your partner gets completely stripped and then they leave the battle. And she was over fighting 2 guys, and I was too busy, you know, getting just trampled over here that, as you see, right before Unison levels, she got taken out. So unfortunately, I was up against 6 guys alone. And of course, that comes with its own set of problems, because these guys are relentless, and it became harder and harder to fight them in the terrain. And unfortunately, this battle goes on a long time. I never get close, I never get stripped once, I don't think, and it never gets to a dangerous level, but it was getting to a point where it was just taking way too long. Like, I got it down, I got 3 guys down, and then I had 3 guys left. Okay, I did get my headband stripped off, but luckily for me, right here, I take all the guys out at once, and you are able to recover your clothing as long as it's not damage removed. Of course, if it gets pulled off, you can usually recover it, but if it gets removed by damage, you cannot. But luckily for me, I got taken off during the fight. It was a while. There was that battle went on for a lot longer than I'm willing to admit to you. Mostly because it just was not good that Rin got knocked out of the fight, so all the enemies and the mobs focused on me. Also, hitting headgear at this stage of the game is such a pain. It is so annoying to hit headgear this late in the game, because the enemies have really good AI and they know how to duck. And when the AI starts ducking, it becomes so hard to deal with headgear, because they know what to do low attacks, they know how to dodge strong attacks, they know how to dodge pretty much any upper attack. Upper parries don't hit. It's such a pain in the late game to go for headgear. It's one of the hardest things to do, because the AI gets smart with you and it's like, yeah, we're gonna just dodge and you're not gonna be able to hit it at any time, and it's just the worst part. So unfortunately, that encounter was a longer one than usual, so headgear got stripped, but mostly it was without incident. So our next mission is to fight this guy who challenged us for some reason. So just because I didn't want to deal with them, I went ahead and I did Rin's Unison Strip, which I believe it has to be the first time, because she pretty much just got to Mogra. Hers is fun. Hers is a lot like Shizuku's, except a bit more flashy, and she has this nice stick the landing moment. Now, doing Unison Strip actually didn't completely destroy him, but of course, he was stunned and dazed, so that was a very simple finisher. And of course, with that, that's the end of that mission. It's just a simple challenge mission. Of course, Rin's getting attacked by a Synthester behind us, but I don't want to deal with that by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm going to go ahead and just get out of there. So the next mission is actually a very easy one, and hilariously enough, is one where there's probably the least amount of effort I've had to put into a mission in this entire game. Basically, a woman wants us to go find Goth Lolita clothing for her. And it's very specific, it's black Goth Lolita clothing. Now, luckily for us, and luckily in the circumstances of which we've been doing this, it's very easy to just have these items on hand already before having to do them. She needs the black Lolita skirt, black Lolita top, and she needs the pitch black headdress. So what I did is I just quickly went through and skimmed my inventory to make sure I had all of those, and I did. So all I had to do was go back and talk to her, and then that was it. That was the end of the quest, because I already had everything on me. This is one of those clothing quests where you basically couldn't have already had the item on you, so you don't have to do anything. And of course I got paid 10,000 yen, which, you know, there you go. So at this point, money's not very useful because, I mean, I don't need to upgrade my weapon anymore. I told you I wasn't going to upgrade my clothing. I really am not. I just don't need it. You can. I just don't. If I wanted to be like an overpowered badass, I guess. But like, honestly, I don't need to show off any more in this playthrough than I could possibly as it stands. So of course, now we have to go do this quest, the third iteration of this quest, which is the delinquent quest. It's the safety committee guy. He wants us to go find 3 groups of delinquents, take them out, come back. That's it. It's the crime prevention quest. It's very simple. Now, of course, once again, they only appear in 3 areas, so you have to kind of pot shot and figure out which ones are the ones they're going to be in and which ones aren't. And of course, that requires trial and error. The first place we go to is Radio Kaikon, which luckily for us is the first area with delinquents. They're down here near the edge where they are usually near the entryway to Electric Town, where you don't have to go through the train station. Now, of course, these guys have like those crazy wooden swords, and I underestimated how fast the moveset is on that. They have these weird rush attacks and like crazy like quick stabs. And it made me realize that the wooden swords are really good. I almost like regret not having used some of these other weapon types in the game. I mean, I made the declaration I was going to use the microphone from the beginning and basically only use the microphone, and I'm sticking by that. Because even though, like, the microphone is so useful, but that wooden sword, like, moveset is crazy. It's like, they've got this, like, stab attack where you just do, like, this weird, like, just quick slice. And like and then those head jabs, that's crazy. But luckily these guys are not high durability targets, so getting rid of them is pretty easy. Though of course, like anything, we have bystanders attacking us that I don't need to deal with. And luckily I was able to get the headgear off these guys a lot easier than the ones before in the park. I was afraid of that. And right when I got Unison Strip, I really didn't need it. That was it for those delinquents. And honestly, instead of dealing with this guy, I just decided to look at where the next area was and run away, because I didn't want to deal with him. As is the standard for encounters like these, you just get collateral all the time. So instead I escaped in Electric Town. Of course, there was no delinquents in Electric Town. There was no delinquents in UD Plus either. That was just a lot of running around and not finding anything. So just gonna skip all that. Instead, we're gonna go to Showa Street Exit, which is indeed the next area with delinquents in it. They're near the escalator area that goes down into the, down into the train station. And of course, we're gonna deal with them in a very similar fashion. This time, I just decided to use Unison Strip. I think I've finally figured out that if you just don't hit like any buttons fast enough, the cutscene just will go and you can't skip it. So you have to skip it like right near the beginning. That was something I wasn't doing, so that's my theory, because it works later, but not now. So of course with these guys stunned, I want to get them just completely taken care of. So this guy is pretty much almost completely taken down, and I'm going to go ahead and just do a complete strip of this guy, taking out one delinquent just instantly. And of course we've still got a couple more guys left. Nothing serious though, luckily for us. With that Unison strip, we've taken out a lot of the real issues. Now Rin's squaring off against two guys, and someone, of course, who is completely unrelated to this whole battle. And of course, that's always annoying. But of course, I got into the stripping because they're there. So in anger, I just decided to finish them off very quickly and go ahead and just take this guy down. And Rin and I just beat this guy crap. Of course, I have bonus damage, and it's completely useful. And of course, we're just going to go ahead, now that we've gotten rid of those delinquents, we're just going to run away and deal with that. There's no need to deal with any more excess enemies than we've already dealt with. So of course now, I have to go find the last group of delinquents. Naturally, this is just a matter of checklisting. Akiba Park, I believe, was on the list. And of course, I decided to go ahead and check the perimeter. However, this is a lot of running around and not doing anything once again. So naturally, as you can imagine, the delinquents aren't here, though I went ahead and got a flyer. So at least I got that much. But of course, there's nothing to be found, so I decided to just go away. And of course, the last area on the list was indeed Junk Street. So, and of course, Junk Street's the main quest line, so I have to do it before I can finish this quest. So now we're going to go into the main mission, which is just a patrol mission. And of course, now we're going to get a patrol cutscene. So Rin's kind of concerned and, I guess, still doubtful of Shion's motives. Of course, she's wondering why Shion, what her stake is in the whole thing. Because she shows a very... She's very interested in the Synthester epidemic. She's very interested in the science behind it. She's very interested in their origins. She's very invested in the whole thing. And of course, Rin is wondering why and what exactly this all entails. And of course, you know, it's a question's worth asking. Of course, I just want to go ahead and be like, you know, maybe she just wants to know about them. Maybe it's just, you know, the fact that these weird energy-sucking people, you know, it might be... She works for a pharmaceutical company, so maybe she wants to know a little bit more about the ailments, the chemical imbalances. Who knows? But of course, after all that musing and talking about stuff, we got Synthesters here, and they want to come beat us up, and naturally that's going to be annoying. So Kati's not going to fight because she's not a fighter. She's a cheerleader, basically, who's going to cheer us on. And Rin's going to get pumped. She's going to get idol pumped. So as you can see to our left right here, Kati's doing a little dance. She's doing a little jig to pump us up as these nurses are beating the crap out of me. Or they're maids, I guess. Got maids and people in military garb just beating me up. And of course that is just going to be a pain anywhere you look at it. But of course they're not that difficult. The headgear of course is always a problem. But luckily I've pretty much already gotten down all the durability on this one. And luckily it's only 4 enemies it looks like. Or 4 or 5. And it's going to be a lot easier than usual. It actually is helping that we're in such a narrow space because it's making it easier for me to hit them. And of course I'm out speeding their attacks due to my one-handed weapon, though I did get just completely devastated there. Had to run away and do a little bit of patting down, and this guy just socked me right in the face. Of course now it's a matter of getting rid of headgear. I always go for the head grabs way too late, but that's okay because just went ahead and did parry strip instead. So now we're down to just a couple more enemies left. It's like almost all headgear, so I'm trying to aim high, which of course is a lot easier said than done, but that's okay. Rin and I are getting bonus damage, like it's kind of ridiculous how much damage we're doing now. So his is pretty much going to be just a clean fight. So last but not least, I just went ahead, and of course I was trying to grab her there, but Rin knocked her down. Just went ahead and just completely stripped that girl, and that will just be the end of that. Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry patrol battle. Nothing to be too surprised about. But then we're going to have a little bit of an interesting development. Now, of course, that was just a normal patrol battle. It was just, you know, normal enemies fighting us. you know, we just went out, just dealt with people. Doesn't seem like any different than usual. So of course we're gonna go get tea, or I'm not gonna get tea, they're gonna get tea, and I guess I'm gonna go somewhere else. But then Kati kind of seems a little lost. I guess all that cheerleading was a bit tiring, but it looks like that's not the case. So Kati's in a trance right now, and we're not really sure why. She's kind of got the sunken eyes, not really all there. And, well, we're wondering why that's happening, but then Rin kind of realizes it all too soon. Yeah, it's this asshole. Soga's back already. And he's come in, and he's come to take Kati for some reason. Now, we're not entirely sure why. We're not sure what his motives are, and he says he's not going to do anything improper, though. I mean, this guy kind of is plotting something bad and sucking people's life energy for some reason. So naturally, it's hard to kind of trust his word. So, of course, he's kind of being like, yeah, my big plan's happening soon. And he's going to go ahead and take Kati with him. And we're going to, you know, kind of have a little bit of animosity towards him about that. Doing a little trance thing there. Now, apparently, she has a special gift, which isn't entirely elaborated on. I guess mind control? I don't know. They don't really dig any deeper into that than you might imagine, but he's gonna go ahead and take her. Now, of course, we couldn't stop him. We couldn't fight him. Rin couldn't do anything, so we're kind of feeling a little, you know, down, but that's okay. Anyways, with that breaking development, this is going to be the end of this episode of Akiba's trip, Undead and Undressed. I hope you enjoyed it. I do hope you keep watching, and I will see you next time.